which is the ESOL, EFL Learning Center. And now moving on to the second. Um, an island with a purpose. It was important to have, in the creation of this, a purpose with this island. The purpose and the design of the island was to foremost to familiarize and train non-English speakers and speakers, to have them familiarize with the English language and comfort within the VLE world. Within the VLE is a course that was created that's called the Basic Training of the Avatar, as well as a scavenger hunt activity-based course that also connected to a course site's Blackboard. In addition, it's my desire for this VLE to have worldwide presence within the ESL world community and to collaborate with existing VLEs that are like-minded. The possibilities can be endless. The fulfillment of potential clients who wish to utilize the island for additional meetings, performances, and sale of potentially useful wares for educational or business purposes, it could also be possible. The design of the island. In creating the island, the design needed to connect to real-life scenarios for ESL learners. It created an imaginary immersive learning environment for them. I created 7 venues within the island, and the venues were a welcome center, a tropical breeze area, which is very much like Tahiti, a culinary center, a garden center, a multimedia center, and a retail center. As well as, of course, you have to have the fun within the amusement park. Again, it is important to understand that these venues were designed around everyday scenarios, and that way the visitors could practice familiarizing themselves in a less emotionally charged environment. In addition, the element of play is evident within the assessments to further engage the learners. See this sample picture here. The cafe, which has colorful and appropriately placed prims. In addition, a clearly designated director of the island with transport capabilities. The challenges and the victories. I love working within the immersive VLE environments. The challenges was connecting the learners to the learning. People had never been in a virtual learning environment before. The idea that an avatar could actually become an alternative identity for these learners was a new thing for them to learn. This enabled them to be even more relaxed and enjoy the learning. Communication and movement within the VLE was critical. The learners engaged and learned quickly and learned how to communicate. This experience helped them to become more comfortable. What are the greatest victories? The victory was having the learners connect to the learning. They were excited to learn and they felt free in the learning experience, regardless of where they were located. Some of my students actually connected from other parts of the country, and one actually tried to get in from China at one point. The learners used the landmark teleports in clear directions, and it made everything less chaotic. It was a tremendous learning curve and a fantastic adventure for my learners and myself. Last slide. So if you'd like to connect with me, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to have visitors to the island and anyone who would like to further collaborate. You could reach me at ESOL, EFL Learning Site at wordpress.com or my email as well. Please see the following contacts and you can go to the Kitely Island if you'd like to and see us at the booths. Thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Maya Anderson, and I work for the Public Service Center and Engaged Learning and Research at Cornell University. My island is a virtual learning environment for co-curricular and curricular community-based learning. The current island spaces grew out of its first iteration as an immersive virtual space for community outreach, with upper elementary and middle school programs working on science exploration, in particular cell biology. Hence, the name of my island is still BioBunny Cell Biology Island. The 4 sections now include Virtual Cornell, a region combining 3D replicas of iconic Cornell buildings, and Modified Kitely, building assets used for classroom spaces. The Virtual Cornell space is meant to be a home location as an icebreaker space to take tours of the virtual Cornell campus, learn how to portal around, and meet with groups. There's also a classroom space, several, available for meetings and collaborations. The Digital Stories region, one of the curricula currently developed for this VLE, is set up with indoor and outdoor classroom spaces to be used for group meetings and classes. The classrooms include media on a prim and slideshow assets for instruction in community-based participatory action research methods of digital storytelling, such as photo, voice, and participatory video. The digital storytelling curriculum modules are embedded in several classroom spaces around the island. The immersive VLE allows groups to first view the curriculum and then work as a group to compile digital assets such as reflections, photos, videos, and created images to tell the stories of their communities. Placing the curriculum in the immersive space is meant to increase the sense of community building when individuals are working with from multiple locations. In developing these island regions, I encountered some challenges and victories. Victories included getting the portals to work, which help more visitors move around the islands. This helps keep the groups together, saves time, and makes the experience a lot more fun. It was also able to upload several 3D replicas of Cornell buildings to help create the visual Cornell illusion. Some of the issues I'm still working with are on trying to figure out the physics of the Cornell buildings so that they don't break apart into single images when you enter them. I'd also like to get the Google Earth terrain raw files to upload so that the buildings can be placed on the proper topography. Currently, there are either gaps at the base, or some of the buildings need to be submerged into the terrain. In future iterations, I would also like to get the Moodle curriculum interface working so that the various curricula can be embedded more seamlessly with the Moodle courseware. My island can be found on Kitely by plugging in Bio Bunny Cell Biology Island. I'd love to have visitors and get feedback and suggestions, and I can also be contacted by email at mma86@Cornell. Thank you.
Hello, my name is April Steenberg. I am the online learning instruction librarian at Finger Lakes Community College, and I have spent a very, very long time working as a digital literacy instructor in public libraries as well. While performing instruction within digital literacy at public libraries and starting to do research into what the patrons needed, I noticed there was a shortcoming in what was being taught. Looking at the scholarship on digital literacy, their support for a theory of literacy goes beyond simple operator skills. So not just possessing the basic knowledge on how to use a technology, in digital literacy specifically, in using word processing, using a computer, and using the internet. So I want to use an immersive environment to allow the application of those basic digital literacy skills to move towards a theory of digital fluency. Inside an immersive environment, users are able to use those basic computer use, internet, and word processing to navigate in-world, to communicate with other residents and visitors, and to customize the content. While research has been done in regards to utilizing immersive environments in educational settings, there hasn't been much done looking at the specifics of adult learners using digital literacy training in such an environment. So I set out to utilize Kitely in this case to develop digital literacy training that went just beyond base operator skills. I focused on content creation and collaboration, which is where we felt the shortcomings were, and wanted to use previous skills towards this content and in world activities. The curriculum developed had learners participate in 3 in-world meetings for 3 lessons, which were moving, communicating with an avatar, traveling between islands and worlds, and then item creation and manipulation. A class Tumblr was set up parallel to that, so learners could reflect on their activities, share snapshots, consider any applications content had to their personal or professional lives. The 2 islands that were created within Kitely provided an environment that was designed with learners and the content in mind. Harith, the first island, was created as an open area for the first activity for getting comfortable moving and communicating. It's also the activity place for the third activity for item creation manipulation. Much open space, a lot of items for them to interact with. Furniture all had many poses. The second island, Ori, was a point of travel mostly. I wanted another private location for the lesson in moving and traveling between islands. Again, it's pretty open. It contains items to interact with. There are social areas like a coffee bar to sit and visit and explore. Both islands are open for learners to visit whenever they would like, either during the lessons or going forward. They're invited to come back as often as they would like. The learners I just worked with for a pilot expressed interest in visiting and exploring between lessons. Their Tumblr posts were full of snapshots and conversation about what was going on, what they were doing, um, and how they were thinking of these skills towards their work lives or their home lives. The best experience I had was being able to facilitate engaging and meaningful learning experiences. The learners were enthusiastic, they were interested in the material, they drew connections between the content being learned and their lives. Actually, a fairly huge difference between doing the basic literacy training where they were just geared towards, I need a job or I need to be able to do this in my job. They were enthusiastic about getting into content that was more widely applied to their lives. The worst experience I had was working with a range of internet capabilities. When you are doing digital literacy training, you are often working with people who do not have broadband internet connections. Um, and since using the immersive environment, you do have to download the viewer. We couldn't rely on them being able to go to a library and using the connection there. So we did have some in-world frustrations from slower connections, erratic movement, clothing not resing, all that fun stuff. But the learners still stayed enthusiastic and worked through it. I can be reached at april.steenberg@flcc.edu. Both of the islands, Auri, Auri, and Hireth, Hireath, are available to visit. I would love if you would, and thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much. I think we have some time for some questions if anybody has any. If you got any questions, you can type them in the chat. We'll try to read them now. All right, I'm not seeing any directly, so I thank you for such a terrific
Excuse
Oh,
me, can I
sorry.
just jump in for 1 minute?
Sure.
It's Eileen. I'm the instructor. I do encourage you visit these islands. A question did go by though, that do we teach this in World? We actually teach this online. All of the students you see here, we've been working together for over a year. We've never met in person. So we work online. Everyone works from their own home computer, but we do often go in world. And I have a kind of a mock-up island. I'm not an artist, so I'm a science person by background. So I've assembled a lot of resources. The students are much more artistic than I, and then they go on and do work. We meet online periodically. And so we're a combination of an online course and an in-world course. So I just wanted to answer that question. And we would love to have people come in. We are an online program. So do let us know. I might just put the first slide back up announcing us, but we're part of the state university system and we are totally online. So I hope that answers the question. Thanks.
All right, I'm seeing another question. Here is are fees the same for non US people and US people? That was asked by, it's going by too fast.
Yeah, we do have a situation where there are higher fees for out-of-state people. We're still quite affordable, so I would suggest you go to www.esc.edu, Empire State College, and you can drill down the program, and I'll put it in the chat, is Mallet, Malet, and you'll see we have all sorts of emerging technologies. This particular group brought in a virtual world as a piece of a much more complex project they were doing. So you heard their pilot studies. They have created their own environments. They've brought in their own students. So our students develop something useful to their environment. We don't prescribe what they have to do. We just make sure it's educationally sound and that we make them write a lot of papers. So thank you.
Uh, One of the question was about Fluto working with OpenSim. Do you have any links?
Maya, I think she tried to work, so could you put your mic back on and tell them?
Yes, hi. I have not yet been able to get the Sloodle Moodle to connection interface to work, although I am still hoping to get that to work, and I will certainly post it if I do.
All right, have we missed any questions or anybody like to add anything? I'm not hearing anything, so I'm going to complete my closing. So, thank you for a terrific presentation. As a reminder to our audience, you can see what's coming up on the conference schedule at conference.opensimulator.org. Following this session at 10 a.m. will be TechLand, a virtual world for math and science. We encourage you to visit the OSCC 15 Poster Expo in the OSCC Expo 3 region to find accompanying info on presentations and explore the Hypergrid Tour resources in Expo 2 region, along with sponsor and crowdfunder booths located throughout all of the OSCC Expo regions. Thank you again to our panel.